We're going to start off with the bench press, and then we're going to do some bent over rows. For both of these, what I want to talk about is the preparation for getting ready. We've done bench press. Should be pretty good with the form by this point. But when it comes to the bench, making sure that you're set up properly is going to be a good thing. And the best way to do that is to do the exact same thing every single time. So I'm just going to take you through what I do, just to make sure that you're following a specific way, right? And a couple things that you do and don't want to do. So first of all, what you don't want to do is flop down, grab the bar, and just go. Right? That is not a good way to get started with a bench press. What you want to make sure that you're doing is when you lie back, the bar should be right about at eye level or mouth level, somewhere around the face level. Why do we do that? Because we don't want it to be too far behind us. We don't want it to be too far in front of us to impede our pressing motion. But if it's too far behind you and you're using a significant amount of weight, you're putting a lot of torque on your rotator cuffs. I have injured myself this way. It is a crappy, horrible, long road to recovery, and so we don't want to do that. So you want to make sure that the first move up gives you a lot of chest. The higher up on the closer to the chest you can get when you're pressing that up, the better. And just have a small movement to where you're doing it in the correct position. Right across the nipular area is where the bar should be. So I'm going to lay back. And if I'm not in the correct spot, I simply shift myself back. So now it's about even with my chin, which is great. And then I'm going to line this up. I like lining it up so that my ring fingers are lined up with the first little line on the barbell. If you don't have that, the best way to do it is to just elbows out, hands up so that they're in a 90-degree angle, and then go up to the bar. It just happens to be at that knurl, maybe a little bit more inside, but that's a good comfortable position. I'd consider this a medium grip. Brace and push. All right, make sure the grip is in the same spot. Make sure the core is engaged. I like to bridge up my glutes a little bit, pressing the heels into the floor, down, touch the chest, and back up. Now I said touch the chest, touch, not drop it, touch. So you should be able to control this all the way down. In order to do that, you have to use your back a little bit so that we can get that going. Back on, and then we're sitting back up. All right, so that's what you want to make sure that your setup is the same way every time. Make sure the bar is even in the right place. Don't be afraid to make adjustments. If it's not working for you, reload. All right, so then we're going to go into our bent over row. The bent over row, similar type of setup, right? I like to start up with the barbell up high. When I'm doing a bent over row, it gives me a lot of position to get into that good steady position with my lats engaged. And I'm going down like I'm doing a Romanian deadlift. This gives me that position where I know I'm going to be in a good spot to row. And then I'm pulling it up right into like that solar plexus area. Too high, and I'm getting up too high on the back. Too low, and I'm not getting into the lats. All of them, I'm getting too much lower lat. Right into the solar plexus, hits that nice full area of the lats. We're not rounding the back. We're sticking the butt back. Let the glutes and the hamstrings steady and hold the body. You should be able to get into this position and feel nice and stable regardless of the weight that's on the ground. So we get our position here. I start with my my knees on the bar. Come up, take my position, get into that steady position. I should be able to stand here with the weight, and we're rowing up and in. Now, if we're going to do this pendlay row style, slightly different, because we're starting from the ground, but we're sitting deeper into that bent over position so that we're able to move the bar and get a little bit more power. So, whereas here I was for the bent over row, for the pendlay row, I'm down lower. And I'm leaning much more forward. So as I pull, I'm using my core more and everything else to get in. It's a much more of a power move. Still going to get the lats, go a little bit heavier, a lot less pressure on the hamstrings and the glutes, because at this point I'm using a lot of power to get it up. So it's just like this big move. A little bit different than the regular row, but I like the pendlay row better because I can go heavier, because it gives me more core engagement, and it takes a little bit off my back. I have a bad back, lower back, so doing a pendlay row makes it a little bit easier for me than doing a bent over row. I cannot go super heavy on the bent over row. If that's a problem for you, I recommend the pendlay row. All right, those are our compound lifts. Next, we're going to be going into a AMRAP circuit, which I'll explain in a second, but it's going to be a kettlebell circuit, and I love this circuit. All right, be right back with you. All right, what we're going to do now is an AMRAP circuit. So AMRAP stands for as many rounds as possible. Okay, so we got 4 exercises. We're going to do 15 to 20 reps of each one. So you want to pick a weight that you can do 20 reps, maybe getting some fatigue at the end. This isn't about creating fatigue in the muscles. This is about working and conditioning the body. So this is a zone 1, zone 2 type of workout. So we're not going super heavy, but we are going to be continuously moving. So there's no rest periods in between unless you need to take them. I recommend about 30 seconds of rest. Again, focus on the nasal breathing of it all, and that's going to help you recover. So set a timer, 20 minutes. We're going to do as many rounds as we can. You should be able to get 4 rounds in. If you can get more than that in, maybe you go a little bit heavier on the weights, or maybe you're just in great shape, and that's awesome. Or if you can't get that many in and you're really gasping for air and you're hitting zone 3, zone 4, you're going a little too intense. So again, this is about creating conditioning and endurance. Think of this as the marathon, not the sprint, right? So we're not trying to win the race today. We're trying to train for it. So we're going to do 4 exercises. I like doing them all with a kettlebell. You can do them all with dumbbells if that's how you prefer to do it. I have different weights for each one of these. You can use the same weight if you want to, if you have that as an option. But each exercise is going to present its own strengths and weaknesses. So I'm really trying to find that balance. So we're going to do 4 exercises. Again, 15 to 20 reps for each one. And I'm going to walk you through them right now. The first one we're going to do is a kettlebell push press. So we're holding these up by the shoulders, all right? And we're going to do a little dip and press and reload. So as soon as I reload, I'm going right back down into it. I'm not like pausing because it's not a huge amount of weight. But I'm getting that full reach, right? So that's exercise number 1. Kettlebell push press, 15 to 20 reps. I'm using 10-pound kettlebells because I know that I can get 20 reps in no problem. Definitely going to feel a little bit of a burn at the end, but enough recovery time in between. The next exercise I'm going to be doing is a kettlebell high pull. So I'm going to start with the weight here, okay? And I'm going to do like I'm doing a deadlift. Just hands, Romanian deadlift, hands right down to about the knees. And then I pop up. Load down, pop up. If you want, you can get up onto to your toes and really get that full extension. That's really up to you if you want to do that. We'll add an extra element of energy that you need, but that is your kettlebell high pull. Romanian deadlift into an upright row, all in one motion. Make sure you're loading up nice, slow, and control on the way down. Power move on the way up. Great way to get a whole body type of workout in. So notice that all of these kettlebell exercises are compound lifts, so you're getting everything you needed. The next one we're going to do is the kettlebell floor press with a bridge. So I get my kettlebells, and I'm down on the floor, and as I press, I'm bridging at the same time, and elbows will touch the ground each time, pulling through the lower abs as I get this press in. "15 of these. Again, you want to make sure the elbows are touching the ground each time. It's almost like you're ripping that kettlebell off the ground, or your arm off the ground. It's a little bit of an explosive type of move, but again, we want to make sure that you're not going too heavy. So it shouldn't be like an extreme challenge, but you should definitely feel a burn. Not a deep burn, not a painful burn. And again, you should be able to be breathing. Like right now, my heart rate's in zone 2. Now I'm also talking and doing this at the same time, so it's a little bit of a challenge. But again, you want the heart rate up, you want to feel a little bit of sweat. We're trying to build endurance through the muscle, which is why we're doing compound lifts and a little bit more of an explosive lift, but we're not going super heavy. The last exercise we're going to do is a pullover. Why did I put pullovers in here? Because I want to get the back involved and the abs involved. And this also creates a little bit of an element of recovery during the other 3 exercises, which are a little bit more intense. A pullover is not as intense, still considered a compound lift. But what we're going to do here is make sure we're breathing, pulling and breathing at the same time. As you do that, you'll notice that it gets the heart rate going a little bit more, right? You're timing your movements with the breathing. So I'll do that here. So I'm holding this up and I'm bending. Straight arm hits the chest, bent arm hits the back. We want to hit the back. In through the nose, out through the nose. Nasal breathing. As I'm pulling forward, I'm not pulling with my arm, I'm pulling with my back. So that rhomboid area, the area right underneath or around the shoulder blades, and I'm pulling with my abs to be able to pull that weight up, right? If I go straight arm, I'm only coming to here, but it's really, really focusing on the upper chest. So this is why we're doing it with the bent arm. Feel your back pressing into the bench. If you feel this too much in the triceps, it means you're pulling too hard with your arms. You want to be feeling this in the back. You should be pulling the chest forward because the muscles in your back are engaged. All right, 20 minutes, you should be able to get about 4 rounds in. If you can get more than 4 rounds, cool. If you can't get as many, let's figure out why. Either you're not going fast enough, you're holding back a little bit, or the weight's too much, and you're just not able to recover properly so that you can get all of this in. Again, we're trying to build endurance. We're not trying to win the race. We're practicing for it right now. All right, that's day 2. We will be back with day 3. Have a good one.